You know that old saying that every office worker has a letter of resignation just waiting in their heart? Well, what if it's not the actual work that's making you feel that way, but a person? What if that feeling of dread on your way to work feels less like simple stress and a lot more like you're walking into a trap? Today, we're going to figure out exactly where that line is, the one between just having a tough job and being in an illegal, toxic workplace.
So let's just get right into the biggest question of all. Should you have to just take it when your boss is verbally abusive? Is that just, part of the deal? Or is it something more? Well, the answer isn't always cut and dry, but from a legal standpoint, that line is way clearer than you probably think.
To really see where the law draws that line, we're going to look at two completely different situations. Two real court cases, actually. And they show the two extremes of what can happen when a workplace conflict goes legal.
Okay, so on one side you have victim A. She's 3 years into her job and she finally sues her boss for constant unwanted attention. We're talking inappropriate questions, even physical contact. And then on the other side, you've got employee C. His company fired him, they said he lied on his resume, was always absent without permission, and was even violent. But he turns around and sues them, claiming that no, he was the one being harassed and that they fired him unfairly.
Now listen to this, because this is the kind of stuff that really messes with your head. When victim A told her boss, team lead B, that she was uncomfortable, this is what he would say. It's such a classic manipulation tactic, right? He's trying to disguise his harassment as some kind of fatherly care and then flip it around to make her feel like she's the one with the problem for being too sensitive. This is a gigantic red flag in any situation.
So both of these stories end up in court. Both people felt they were wronged and looked to the legal system to make it right. But the results? They could not have been more different. Let's see what the court had to say. All right, let's play judge for a second. Who do you think won? Was it victim A, who was putting up with her boss's constant harassment? Or was it employee C, who claimed he was the one getting bullied by the company that just fired him? Victim A won her case. The court looked at the evidence and said, yep, what her boss did was absolutely workplace harassment. But, and this is the really critical part, the court didn't just stop at the boss. It also held the company financially responsible for letting it happen. And employee C? He lost. The court decided the company was 100% justified in firing him. His whole claim about being harassed and unfairly dismissed? Totally rejected. So you've got two completely opposite outcomes. The big question is, why? To really get why these decisions were so different, we've got to look at the legal ideas the court was working with. Because this isn't about who tells the sadder story, it's about who can actually meet the legal standard of proof. So the first big legal concept here is something called vicarious liability. It sounds complicated, but it's pretty simple. Think of it like this. If a pizza delivery guy gets into an accident while he's on a delivery, the pizza company is usually on the hook, right? Same idea here. The court said this harassment happened at work, on company time, so the company couldn't just throw up its hands and say, not our problem. They had to share the blame, and that meant sharing the cost. Now, for employee C, the court was looking at a totally different principle, justified cause for dismissal. And this shows you the other side of the coin perfectly. The law is absolutely there to protect employees, but it's not a free pass to do whatever you want. When you do things that completely shatter the trust between you and your employer, like lying on your resume, being violent, or just not showing up, the court basically says, yeah, they had every right to fire you. Okay, so we've seen how the courts think. Now let's talk about the most important thing for you. If you ever find yourself in a nightmare situation like victim A's, just feeling like you've been wronged isn't going to be enough to win in court. You need proof, cold, hard evidence. And here's how you get it.
All right, there are 4 absolutely crucial steps to building a solid case. First, the harassment log. You have to write everything down, and we'll talk more about how in a sec. Second, you can legally record conversations that you're a part of. Third, go to a doctor. If all this stress is causing you insomnia or anxiety, getting a doctor's note creates a powerful official link between the harassment and the harm it's doing to your health. And fourth, save every text and chat message from your coworkers. Even something as simple as a friend messaging you, hey, you okay? What he just said was totally out of line, can be powerful evidence that you're not imagining things.
So what does a good harassment log actually look like? It's not just scribbling, my boss was mean today. No. Look at this example. It's super specific. You've got the date, the time, the location. You have the exact humiliating quote. And, crucially, you've listed who else was in the room to see it. This is the kind of detail that turns a complaint into a powerful legal claim. So what's the big takeaway from all this? It really boils down to one simple, powerful truth.
Just suffering in silence doesn't help anyone. The law is there to protect you, but it's not a magic wand. It only works if you give it the evidence it needs. The law is on the side of the prepared, so the real question isn't just whether you should endure it, it's whether you're prepared to fight back.